Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and in this game you'll see me try different solutions to a problem I had on the board and fail, but eventually finding that solution. So let's go. At the bottom here, I am playing as a giant specialist. I am up against Beach playing as a speed specialist. This is a 1700 MMR game. Now, I do have the Tarantulas right off the bat, which means against his board, which is Mustangs and Marksmen, I don't need any more firepower, not at least for round one. What I do need is a lot of cover in the form of chaff, and that's what I'm going to do. So I added 2 extra squads of fangs. They both serve as chaff, but also they contribute a little bit to the firepower, and allowing my Tarantulas to get in there and do the damage required. So round one ends pretty much as you expected, with the 2 Tarantulas left standing. Alright. Round 2. Lots of interesting cards. I think mass-produced Rhino is always fun, especially if you have exploding Rhinos. I was tempted of taking Extended Range Phoenix, because due to the recent nerf of the Fortress, Extended Range Phoenix is actually pretty good. They can no longer be targeted by the Fortress's anti-air barrage, just because of the additional range. But I decided to skip because it is round 2. I needed that extra 50 to unlock Mustangs. And Mustangs, they serve as a great damage booster, but also in the late game or the later rounds, they can also tank for your big units. My opponent decided to take the mass-produced Rhinos. So let's take a look here. He does not run Final Blitz, which is the Suicide Bomber Rhinos, which is a little better for me, but still, with 3 Rhinos on level 2 with no real anti-unit damage, things are not going too well for me, but it's not terrible. I think I should still win this round. All right. Perfect. Okay. Looks good. I'm gonna get this over there. Excellent. Round 3 unit draw. I needed a solution against the Rhino. My opponent is speed spec, so I wanted to get something that I can sell very quickly later on. I am giant spec, so I wouldn't get as much value out of this Overlord. I decided to take the Sabertooth, because right now at level 3, they will one-shot the Rhinos, making them very effective. And also, Sabertooth combined with Tarantula is a pretty potent firing line, so if he does decide to go with anything on the ground, these 2 units could definitely clear a path for me. My opponent decided to take the Overlord, which is a very good choice considering right now the only anti-air that I have on the board are these Mustangs. And it looks like my opponent is going to add another Overlord just to complete his symmetrical board. Okay, so this is quite a bit of a problem right now, because in order for me to get to the Overlord, I have to ensure that my Mustangs survive, but without range, they're just running too far forward. Now, let's look at both sides. I think the Sabertooth are definitely doing their job, right? One shot in this one here. This one, yeah, they're just doing so much damage to these small or medium-sized units. And what's really left are just these Mustangs and, of course, these boats. Now, here I'm hoping that my Tarantulas with 33,000 HP is enough to tank 4 of my Mustangs, and hopefully I'll be able to get his boats. And with the tower debuff, I was lucky to have won this round. Round 4. A few very good cards. I took the tank production line, anticipating a giant very, very soon. And here's the melting point. When you see your opponent start to go with the Overlord, you definitely want to respond a little bit sooner. My opponent did add Chain Gun to the Overlord, which means now they're a lot better at dealing with Tarantulas. However, with Melting Point, I think I should be able to get this one. Alright, Mustangs are coming in. Melting points are a little off target. Here we go. Finally getting onto the Rhino. They're definitely not as quick at killing Rhino as the level 3 Sabertooth because of the charge up. However, the melting points can shoot up, which means after the smoke has cleared, melting point will be on target against these overlords. Oh man, look at this chain gun just popping my melting points even if it's being focused down. So I definitely need a solution in the form of more chaff to combat my opponent's chain gun. But for this round, I think I should have it in the bag. Not with the debuff. I think no, yeah. So chain gun is actually quite powerful. A chain gun one-on-one for a boat against the melting point, even if they're both hitting each other at the exact same time, the boat will win. All right, so we got unit drop. Both of us took the sledgehammers from the unit drop. I took the sledgehammers because I wanted more chaff clear, but I also wanted a bit of shield in front of the sledgehammers so that they can take the fire from, especially the chain gun, from the overlord. My opponent took the sledgehammers because he saw the melting point. Sledgehammers are actually excellent against melting point. They're kind of in this range, right, with 3,000 or 6,000 HP, where your melting point kind of have to charge all the way up to maximum, and that does take time. It takes about 5 seconds for a melting point to fully charge up to the maximum. And when that happened, 5-unit squad of sledgehammers actually held up a melting point for about a third of the game. So think about that for a second. So they're really good against melting point as a sort of a midline chaff. Now right now, I am having a bit of a problem on the flanks here, although in the middle, my melting point are doing just fine. So here's what I'm talking about, right? You see how this melting point is really struggling with these sledgehammers? Right, they're taking every single shot, they're charging up for at least 5 seconds and then killing the sledgehammer. So that's a lot of time wasted on just sledgehammers. Compared to something like a Scorpion, right? 2 shots and there goes the squad of the tanks. Okay, so I needed something to get those tanks down. Another unit drop. I was a little scared of the nuke that was offered, but there's nothing I could really do about it. So if my opponent did take nuke, he is going to win this round, but luckily he did not take the nuke. I took senior attack spec, mostly because if I wanted to go with melting point, the more damage I can get out, the better. And here's what I chose, a multi-beam melting point. Multi-beam melting point is good for 2 things. 1, it's going to be great against these sledgehammers. And then 2, if my opponent decides to take Mothership, which produces Wasp out of these overlords, multi-beam melting point is also pretty decent against that. Alright, so right now, here's a pretty glaring problem, as you can see. First of all, you notice how there's no chaff clear at these areas, right, when I'm drawing. And that is because my opponent actually pulled my unit, my primary chaff clear, namely these 2 tarantulas, towards the middle with that very forward placing trawlers. Now without chaff clear, even with multi-melter, I am taking forever just to get through his units. And that gives my opponent the time needed to clear mine, and with chain gun, he's able to get to mine a lot more effectively. Especially with this level 2, right, as you can see, it's almost just getting my melting point. Alright. He is going to come to my tower. I think it's going to go straight to the tower, and that means I will lose the fight with my melting point. Alright, unit cards. Laser sight is a no-brainer. My opponent took enhancement module, thinking of just vastly upgrading this melting point. At a certain point, right, once you have high enough level melting points, not melting point, overlords, then my melting points would not be able to defeat them. Especially multi-melter is kind of a bit of a problem because it does sacrifice a bit of damage. High-level boats, what's really scary is not so much just the boats damage, but it's actually the chain gun. So for every level, they get 11,000 damage on that gun. So that gun is comparable to a fortress damage. So right now you can see every single one of these boats is firing their rockets, but also dealing with a fortress normally would have done with their damage. Alright, looking at this round, it seems like I am suffering from almost that exact same problem. I did add 2 tarantulas all the way at the fringe, but it doesn't seem like I have enough. And it looks like with my opponent's additional boats coming in, this is a very, very scary round. This is a round with 5 boats, and that's a lot of damage to my HP. So all of a sudden, I am on the back footing, trying to survive. Deployments make a lot of sense to me. I think for me, I needed something to stop these boats from ever reaching me, and that answer lies in the number of chaffs. So first thing first, I'm going to get armor, and I'm going to put down a whole bunch of fans, some serving as late arriving, some serving as just a forward tank, and hopefully with that, I can stop the advance of these boats. My opponent has a beautiful board of very late arriving chaffs in waves. At the front, he's got 3 squads of fans, but that's immediately followed up by 3 squads of crawlers, and then 2 more to kind of close up this loop. And not to mention, these rhinos, now with armor, also do quite a bit of tanking. Alright. I added 4 anti-missile devices because I was worried about my opponent going fire callers. Once they clear out all my chaff, I don't think I have enough firepower to stand up against the boats, right? So right now, one thing that can destroy my side of the board is storm callers with fire. The anti-missile also helps against the boats, right? They do stop some, not all, of the boat's rockets. Okay. And the last minute, I put down the oil, hoping to slow down this side. Alright. Crawlers coming in. Multi-melter is kind of still stuck on a lot of crawlers. So that's never good, right? When you have multi-melter being stuck on crawlers. One of them is on target. Now, this is a level 4 boat, so it's kind of scary. Alright, got the level 4. This one is also on target. On the other side, it seems to be falling. It looks like I have 1 melting point up against a level 3 and a level 4. So that is quite scary. I do have 1 level 3 melting point with laser sight, so I wonder if I can actually get this overlord. No, just barely. So I was contemplating, do I need to get energy absorption on the next round? Maybe that'll save me. Ooh, another huge hit. 2 boats with some units, and I'm down to 140 HP. So a little tickle could cause me to lose the game. Alright, unit drop once again. We have wasps. Looking at my opponent's board, he really doesn't have anti-air. He's got 2 Mustangs, and that's about it. And all of his boats are actually quite forwardly placed, which means if I go wasp with range and also aerial spec, I should be able to get my opponent's units. Right? So that's where I wanted to go. Let's get some wasps. Let's not put them too far back, because if you put them too far back, then the Mustangs would be in front, and then the Mustangs will be able to take care of my wasps. We'll let them put them forward and get them locked onto these boats. Now notice that my opponent did take Mothership, so these boats are now producing wasps, and he also took the wasp with anti-ground and range. I think the anti-ground is just another way to deal with my melting point, but right now I would just really want to get to these overlords very fast. Alright, my first pack of wasps is already engaging. The Mustangs are kind of stuck on the oil here. 3 boats went down, which is a huge victory for me. We got Rhino here, double tech, now with Whirlwind. Very good against with chaff clear. And it looks like my right hand side is going to fall. However, this level 3 melting point with laser sight is going to win the round. So in an extremely clutch final round, I was able to turn this around after failing to figure out what exactly is the right solution for a couple rounds. So I hope you enjoyed this game, and I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.